Good morning, everyone. Honorable to Prof. Agung Darmawan Buhdadi, MM PhD, as the coordinator of the S1 Manajemen Study Program, and also Prof. Dr. Gatot Nazir Ahmad, MSc, as Supervisor 1, and Ms. Destria Kurnianti, SAMSc, as Supervisor number 2. Today, I will present thesis proposal with the title Seminar Proposal The Influence of Board Gender Diversity, Board Independence, CEO Duality, and CEO Tenure on the Value of Banking Companies, list on the IDX in 2018 until 2022. My name is Fuadi Rachman with my number 1705-620066. The first one, there is table of content, and number 1 is introduction, number 2 is literature review, and number 3, research methods. And the first one is introduction. I will explain about background, problem formulation, research of objective, and research benefit. In the era of economic globalization, companies compete to create innovation and profitable business strategies by utilizing economic research. In an effort to maximize profit, companies seek to increase their value as long-term goal. The higher the company value, which means the greater the benefit that will be enjoyed by owners and shareholders. And standards and procedure in company management are increasingly recognized as crucial factors in determining and exercising control over the use of company assets and resources. In addition, investors are slowly preferring to make investment based on their assessment of the integrity, reputation, and management practice of the company. Economic growth and development in various countries can be influenced by the financial sector with great significance. This is because the sector has a strong influence in regulating the amount of money in circulation through payment and credit transactions. Good corporate governance is considered to have the potential to influence the increase in firm value. When a company successfully implements good corporate governance, it will result in increase in firm value. Next one is what is included in corporate governance is as follows. Number 1, board gender diversity. Number 2, board independence. Number 3, CEO duality. And the last one is CEO tenure. In general, the debate regarding the influence of the 4 variables on firm value has conflicting and inconsistent research results. In this study, I use control variable as variable that control the influence of the independent variable on the independent variable. This study used frame size as a control variable. Based on the background that has been explained, the researchers are interested in running this research with the title The Effect of Board Gender Diversity, Board Independence, CEO Duality, and CEO Tenure on the Value of Banking Companies based on the IDX year 2018 until 2022. And the next one is research question. Question number 1 is, does board gender diversity have a significant positive effect on firm value in banking companies based on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022? And the question number 2 is, does board independence have a significant positive effect on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2019 until 2022. And next one, question number 3 is, does CEO duality have a significant negative effect on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022? And the question number 4 is, does CEO tenure have a significant positive effect on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022? Next one is research objective. Objective number 1 is to examine the effect of both gender diversity on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022. Number 2 is to examine the effect of board independence on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022. Number 3, to examine the effect of CEO duality on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022. Number 4, to examine the effect of CEO tenure on firm value in banking companies listed on the IDX for the period 2018 until 2022. Benefit of research. Number 1 is for theoretical. It can be additional literature and evidence for reference in further research, provide input, and broaden insight for economic. Lalu, the next one, benefit for company management. It can become a reference for management to improve its performance. And the benefits number 3 is prospective investor. To be a material consideration for investor in making stock purchase investment. Next one is literature review. In this part, we explain about literature review, framework, thoughts, and hypotheses. Number 1 is corporate governance. Good corporate governance is a framework used in the management of companies with a focus on the main objective of increasing shareholder value in the long term, while considering the interests of various other stakeholders. By implementing efficient corporate governance, a company can improve its business environment and build the trust of stakeholders, especially investors in the company. Next one is company value. Firm value is a reflection of the company performance that can influence the interests of shareholders or investors in the company. Firm value is the view that investors have of the extent to which the company has achieved success, which is often related to the share price. And formula to company value, I use PBV. The next one is board gender diversity. Gender diversity on the board of directors, otherwise known as board gender diversity, refers to the proportion of at least one director who is female in the board structure. The presence of the diverse characteristic on the board can have a positive impact on the company if the board is able to integrate the various resources they have with the external condition of the company. I use board gender diversity, female direcsi per total direcsi. Next one is board independence. An independent commissioner is a member of the supervisor board who has no affiliation with the management, major shareholder, and the other members of the supervisory board that may affect his or her ability to act independently in the best interest of the supervisory board. In the formula for board independent, you can see the picture in here. Next one is CEO duality. CEO duality is a term of designation when the chief executive officer or CEO also serve as the chairman of the board, or COB. In Indonesia, CEO duality is defined as a kinship system in determining the position of the board of director and the board of commissioner, both of which are related to each other. I use variable dummy to CEO duality. The last one is CEO tenure. CEO tenure is the number of years in which the CEO has worked in his current position. The formula for CEO tenure is total years the CEO worked in his current position. Next one is hypothesis. First one, Hamdani dan Hatane in 2017 in the research saw a significant positive relationship between the proportion of women on the board of director and firm value. In addition, the presence of women on the board of director can help strengthen the implementation of corporate governance. From that, the H1 is hypothesis 1 is board diversity gender has a significant positive effect on firm value. And the next one is Soudar in 2021 in his research found consistent evidence that board independence is associated with higher firm value. The result of this study indicate that independent commissioner have a significant positive effect on firm value. From that, the hypothesis number 2 is board independence has a significant positive effect on firm value. Lalu, and the next one, hypothesis number 2, Khan, Tenfer, and Malik in 2017 in their research found that board size and CEO duality have a negative impact on firm value. This was also found by Farhes and Sasidaran in 2020, who found that CEO duality has a negative influence on firm value. From that, the hypothesis number 3 is CEO duality has a significant negative effect on firm value. And the number 4, in research conducted by Sheikh 2018 found that there is a positive influence between CEO power projected by CEO tenure and firm value. Hamidal dan Harimawan in 2021 also found the same result, namely the length of time the CEO served can affect firm value. From that, the hypothesis number 4 is CEO tenure has a significant positive effect on firm value. This is the theoretical framework. As you can see this picture, board gender diversity as X1 and board independence as X2, CEO duality as X3, CEO tenure as X4, and I use frame size for variable control. And research methods. Number 1 is population and sample. The study chose 47 banking companies listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange as the population. And in this research, the sampling technique used is purposive sampling method. The study filtered company with the sample criteria needed for the study into 39 banking companies. Then the 39 companies were multiplied by 5 research periods, which made a total observation is 195. Next one is variable operationalization. For company value or firm value, I use PBV, and formula for PBV is market price per share per book value of shares. And board gender diversity, female director per total board of director. Board independence, total independent commissioner per total board members. as 100%. CO duality yaitu I use variable dummy, and CO tenure is number of years the CEO has served in the company, and frame size logaritma total asset. Next one is analysis technique. Number 3.1. Descriptive analysis. Descriptive statistics are statistics used to analyze data by describing or illustrating the data collected as it is, without intending to draw conclusions that apply to generalization or generalization. And the purpose of using descriptive statistical method is to analyze the distribution of data by calculating the mean, standard deviation, variance, and also the percentage. This helps in better understanding data analysis technique by finding the mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variance of a particular dataset. Next one is classical assumption test. The multicollinearity test is conducted to test whether there is correlation between the independent variable in the regression model. It refers to Ghazali in 2017. If the independent variable correlates greater than 0.8, then there is an indication of multicollinearity. The presence of multicollinearity in the regression equation model will result in estimation uncertainty, thus leading to a conclusion that accepts as null. Next one is panel data regression analysis. The data analysis model used is panel data regression applied with eView software. Panel data is a collection of data generated through individual observation or cross-functional units which are then monitored over successive time periods. The model for the regression equation in this study is as follows. You can see the picture. Next one, panel data regression model determination. Number one, the Chow test is used to determine the best model between the common effect model and the fixed effect model. And the Hausman test is used to determine the more appropriate model between the fixed effect model and the random effect model. Next one, hypothesis test. Number one, hypothesis test or t-test. The t-test is used to test the research hypothesis. The aim is to assess the effect of each independent variable, namely both gender diversity, both independence, CO duality, and CO tenure, particularly on the dependent variable, namely from value. Number 8, the hypothesis is accepted if the significant value is less than 0.10, which means that the regression coefficient is partially significant, indicating that the independent variable has a significant effect on dependent variable. B, the hypothesis is rejected if the significant value is greater than 0.10, which indicates the regression coefficient is not partially significant, and the independent variable does not have a significant effect on the dependent variable. And number 2 is coefficient of determination or R2 test. The coefficient of determination is a measure that provides information about the extent to which the regression model explains the fit between the independent variable, where both gender diversity, both independence, CO duality, and CO tenure together on the dependent variable. And the coefficient of determination value range between 0 and 1. And the greater the R2 value, the better the model in explaining the variation in the dependent variable. Conversely, a smaller R2 value indicates that the independent variable have limited ability to explain variation in the dependent variable. It is refers to Ghazali in 2017. Next one is result and discussion. 4.1 data description and sample selection result. The data used in this study comes from the annual reports and financial statement of companies in the banking sector listed on Indonesian Stock Exchange during the period 2017 until 2022. And you can see for the picture, and this is the sample. And the next one is descriptive statistic. The descriptive statistic test result of 93 observations from each research sample period can be seen in the following table. And as you can see in this table, you can see the statistic descriptive year 2017 until 2019. And table 4.4 statistic descriptive 2020 until 2022. Next. And the next one is regression model selection. In this part, you can see in model 1, the model choose is CAIM, and the model 2 is RAM. And the next is classical assumption test. And in this study, the research used multicollinearity test. The multicollinear test was carried out with the aim of knowing whether there was a correlation between the independent variable in the study. And from the table, this show that there is no correlation between variable in each research model. So it can be concluded that there are no multicollinearity symptoms in the data used. The next one is panel data regression. In this table, you can see the result of regression model 1 or pra-COVID. In this table, you can see the BGD have a probability 0.026 and CEO TENURE have probability 0.025 and front size have a probability 0.024. Based on the regression result in model 1, the research model is obtained as follow. You can see the slide. And the next one is panel data regression for model 2 or COVID-19. And you can see the board independence have a probability 0.021. And from that table, we can conclude that panel data regression hypothesis test or t-test. You can see that the picture, model 1 and model 2. Next one is panel data regression hypothesis test and the test coefficient of determination or R2. Model 1 research model is 0.1061, and this shows that 10.61% of the independent variable can predict change in the dependent variable, while the remaining 89.39% is explained by other variable. And in the model 2, the value of adjusted square value is 0.0684. This means that the independent variable in the study are only able to influence the dependent variable by 6084%. And the next one is discussion. The effect of both gender diversity on firm value before and during COVID-19. Both gender diversity has a negative and significant relationship with firm value in the pre-COVID period. This is aligned with research conducted by An and Khan in 2017 and Reddy and Jethaf in 2019, who conclude that both gender diversity has a negative impact with firm value. A possible explanation underlying this is that excess monitoring can be costly for firms operating in a strong institutional environment where shareholders' rights are well protected as the marginal cost of monitoring outweighs its marginal benefit. And the board gender diversity has no influence on firm value during COVID-19. This is because the proportion of female directors in Indonesian banking company is much lower than that of male director during the observation period. And the next one is the effect of board independence on firm value before COVID-19 and during the COVID-19 period. Board independence has no influence on firm value in the pre-COVID-19 period. In the agency principle, having a strong structure to manage the industry, such as an independent board of commissioner, can increase firm value by overcoming problems such as agency conflict and information asymmetry. However, the results show that having an independent board of commissioner may not always be effective. This can happen because independent commissioner may not have a deep understanding of the industry. And board independence has a positive and significant effect on firm value during the COVID-19 period. The appointment of independent board of commissioner aim to oversee major shareholders, and the presence of an independent board of commissioner can reduce potential conflict between shareholders who control the company and minority shareholder. And the next one is the effect of CEO duality on firm value before and during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the table, shows the result that in the model 1 and model 2, the regression coefficient CEO duality have not effect on firm value. The reason for this finding is that CEO duality in Indonesia is based on family relationship and based on the company law number 2007, which stipulates that company must adhere to a two-tier board system in organizational structure consisting of two different people. The next one is the effect of CEO tenure on firm value before COVID-19 and during the COVID-19 period. CEO tenure has a positive and significant effect on firm value in the pre-COVID period. This is in line with research conducted by Vintile, Onofre, and Georgina in 2015 and Leong et al. In 2018. The initial hypothesis in this study states that CEO tenure has significant positive effect on firm value. CEO with longer tenures may have a deeper understanding of the company and its operation, as well as a strong relationship with their stakeholders, including employee, customers, and investors. The contradicts the COVID-19 period, which has a coefficient of 0.0290476 with a probability of 0.586, which means that CEO tenure has no effect on firm value. This is in line with research conducted by Wati in 2021, according to which when a CEO tenure is long enough, they become overly committed to their own views of the company, committed to their paradigm, and tend to be less adaptable to external environment and less open to strategic change. And the next one is closing. Conclusion in this study is board gender diversity has a negative effect on firm value project by PBV value in the period before COVID-19. Conversely, board gender diversity has no effect on firm value project by PBV value in the period during COVID-19. Board independence has no influence on firm value in the pre-COVID period. Conversely, board independence has a positive influence on firm value at the time of COVID-19. Next is CEO duality has no influence on from value in the pre-COVID period or when COVID struck. And the next one is here, TENURE has a significant positive effect on from value in the pre-COVID period. Conversely, CEO TENURE has no influence on from value during COVID-19. The next one is implication. For theoretical implication, the study provides additional literature regarding the effect of both gender diversity, both independence, CEO duality, and CEO tenure on from value. The study shows that both gender diversity, both independence, CEO duality, and CEO tenure can have an effect or no effect on from value, depending on how the company changes and condition. And for practical implication, for the company, this research will be a reference for managers in the company when deciding which corporate governance policies to implement. And for the investors are encouraged to consider good corporate governance factors when choosing which company to invest in, especially if they want to invest in the long term. And for the regulators and policy makers may consider the result of the study as one of the factors that encourage good corporate governance. And the next one is research limitation. In conducting this research, researchers have several limitations, including number one, the sample used is only the banking sector list on the Indonesia Stock Exchange. And number two, the sample used in the regression model refers a 3-year period only. And number three, in the study, the proxy for from value is limited to price to book value or PBV. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.